Okay, this is the last video for this line pattern project, and here we are at the bottom of the quilt. I've gone ahead and done all the remaining stitch in the ditch. What I experimented with was doing this whole, I started here, I think, this whole part in one go. It didn't work out well, it was too much. It was even too much out of the ditch for me, so I unpicked some of it and redid it. Anyway, I've gone ahead and done all the rest of it in the ditch, and now I'm going to start with this triangle in the middle here. It's the clipping block triangle, and I'm going to show a different way of doing it so that you get perfectly parallel lines. So anyway, so let's go up to the top. I'll wake up my tablet. I'm going to do, I'm already at the line pattern page, and I'm doing the parallel lines here, so I'm going to move my machine over to this corner. Now normally I would put my needle right down at the seam line, but I want to clip off this pattern all the way around, so I'm going to make my foot go a little bit above that seam line there. It's about a foot's the depth of my foot away from it. So I'm going to hit OK, and I'm going to come across to the middle, because that will be my first repeat of the parallel lines. Now on the screen I don't have the parallel lines, so I've got to touch my pattern button or the second button on my clicker until I get to the parallel lines that I want. There they are. But they're the wrong way, so I need to go flip Y to bring them down. Okay, so that is my first repeat. Now up here on the screen I'm looking at my horizontal needle green line there, and I want to bring it up so that it's right on the red of the pattern. So I'm going to raise my needle up. Can you see how now? So that makes the pattern perfectly square with my needle. Okay, so that's one repeat, so I'll hit OK. Now I'm going to go across to the end of the pattern. Again, I'm looking up at my screen, and I'm going to move my needle up until the green line is along the edge of the pattern. You see that? That's exaggerated. See how now this is not parallel. So if I move my needle up, it makes them all parallel, and I'm just checking on my quilt that I'm in the right place. I'm going to hit OK. Okay, so now I need to draw in the clipping block. So I'm going to go finished here, add edit block, add block, and I'm just going to choose clipping block right away, and I'm going to select the patterns to be affected. It's that one, the parallel lines. Continue, and I'm going to mark on quilt. So now I will come to my seam lines. I will use my clicker, and I will mark as accurately as I can. Lowered my needle slightly. The ditch work will have stabilized this block, so that when it clips off the lines, they should stitch right in that ditch. Right. Coming along here. Finished, and there it is. It's clipped off everything that I don't need, and you can see if I put my needle here, you can see how my block is not perfectly straight. So marking, making the pattern go beyond there and then clipping it off means that all those lines are perfectly parallel and straight in the block. So now we'll go finished. More than 59% of the selected patterns is being clipped off. Do you want to continue? Yes, continue. I'm going to, my transition type is set to continuous. I'm going to hit accept. Yes. Finished. Sew quilt. This is what I want to sew. Continue. Sew quilt. Okay, let's see if I mark that block well. Just got my hand on the quilt because my take-up bar is a little high, so the quilt is bouncing. Yay, I marked that pretty good. I'm pleased with that. So I'll go here, bring up my bobbin thread and cut it off. Now the next thing I will do is this sashing. So let me get my piece of paper that I made to mark my spacing for the sashing pattern, and I'll lay it on here. Now that's too long. You can see here it's too long, so I need to cut another piece of paper, and I've done that already. That's better. So then I will put my little chalk marks, and I will stitch that, and then I will check this one. That piece of paper works for that side too, so I'll put those chalk marks in and stitch that. I'm not going to do it now. You know how to do it by now. And then the next part I'm going to do before I have to advance is put the patterns in here and here and here. Now, if I want to experiment, I can try and mark them and stitch them all at once. So I would start here, go across this way, this way, this way, then for the triangle this way, and then continue triangle, triangle, this way, this way, this way, this way. Dare I do it that way? Let me mark it and I'll stitch it off camera, and we'll come back and see how it did. Okay, I finished that section, and you can see how I plotted out the pattern. I did, as I said, I went across here, 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 then straight across to here, up. Did it all in one go. If we look down at the quilt, I'm really pleased with the way it's stitched out. It didn't move at all. It's partly because these are fairly open patterns, so they don't draw in the fabric too much. I'd also got it stabilised with the stitch in the ditch. If you're the least bit worried, then go ahead and do it in sections like we did the first time we came across this part of the quilt at the top. Also, if the patterns were denser than this, I would have stitched them out in smaller sections. But that worked really well. So now we're going to go on. I'm going to skip the continuous curve in the squares, and I'm going to leave you to do that. I'm going to start doing the border here just to remind you about the corner and how we do that. So up at the screen, I'm going to go delete patterns because I don't need them. Select all, continue, yes. I've also advanced my quilt slightly so that I can do the border. Line pattern. Okay, and I'm going to start over here. I will drop my needle. Now this is the last section of the border. So I need a lollipop at this end, the swag, and then a lollipop at this end. So I'm going to click on OK, and I will move my machine. And now I have to choose the right pattern. So I'm just going to hit either pattern or the second button on my clicker until I get the right pattern. Not that one, because that's only got one lollipop. There's the one I want with 2 lollipops. But I need to flip it, so flip Y. I'm checking the height that I've got the correct one, referring to my notes. Yes, that's the correct one. So I can hit OK. Now we need to do the corner, and it's that one single lollipop. So I'm going to go, I'm going to hit, let me see. I'm going to move my machine slightly so I can see the next pattern coming, and then I can choose the right one. Not that one, not that one, not that one. Oh, missed it. That was the lollipop there. Go all the way around again till I get to it again. There it is. And I'm going to bring it and superimpose it over that lollipop because I want to check that the circle is the same, which will be the height. Let me just exaggerate that so you can see what I mean. Okay, that's the height. That changes the height. I want it the same circle as this lollipop, so I'm going to reduce it down until it's on top of it. Now the saved one probably should be the same, but this is just a reminder for you. Okay, so that's the height. The length that I see here, 2.15, is actually the distance from the start to the end, which is here to here. And I need to remember that too. So I'm looking for that length, 2.15, and I'm going to change the angle to 45. Let's pan that picture up a bit so we can see it. Okay. Alright, 45, but the length there needs to be 2.15. So it's kind of careful moving of the machine. 2.15. If it's just a few fraction out, it really doesn't matter. Okay. Now I checked that my corner on my quilt was square, so I know taking the angle to 45 degrees is correct for this. If you're, if you can see that your corner isn't square, chalk a line on the quilt across the corner and then follow that chalk line with your needle to get the right angle for this lollipop to go into the corner. Okay, that's good. So I'm going to hit OK. Now this pattern ends here and I need to get back down there. So I'm going to go back down to the corner of the quilt on the seam line there between the piecing and the border. And I need to change this to the straight line. So I'm going to go pattern. There's the straight line. Okay. Now we're going to come across 4 squares again. And I need to choose that swag, the correct swag. And it's going to be the swag. I can either go 1 lollipop or 2. It really doesn't matter here. So let's find it. Oh, wrong one. I pressed OK. So I'm going to do undo and hit my pattern button. Now let's pan over so we can see the whole thing. Okay, that'll work. So I'm going to hit OK for that. I'm going to go across 1, 2, 3, 4, which takes me to the centre of the border. Now this time I want a swag with 1 lollipop because there's already 1 here, so I only need 1 lollipop here. So I'm going to hit pattern, pattern, pattern. There's the 1 lollipop. And I'm going to hit flip Y to put it in the correct place. Okay. Come across another 4 squares. Same pattern. Let's do pattern again. Okay. Across another 4 squares. Same pattern again. That's okay. And then I'm back at the corner to do another single lollipop. So I'm going to hit my pattern button. No, I have to move it slightly so I can see. I couldn't see it because it was right on top of the other one. Okay. There it is, and I'm going to come out 45 degrees, and remembering that's 2.15 is the length of the stem, and I need to do 45 degrees. Again, I check this corner so I know it's right. Okay, there. Then the straight line back to the corner here, pattern, 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 straight line, there it is. Okay, and then one last swag up here, and again it'll be a swag with 2 lollipops. So let's go this way. There they are, done. Okay, let's go zoom full, and we'll zoom in a bit, and we'll have it finished. So there's my border pattern all done. Let me bring it over here so you can see it a bit better on the camera, and then I'll go ahead and stitch that. Okay, and then I'll just do the continuous curve, and then the quilt is all finished. So I hope you've enjoyed this project and it's helped you learn how to use line pattern. Go ahead and try this or try those patterns on a different project. Any pattern that's open, that's got a start at one end and an end at the other side, you can use them as line patterns. So a panto can be a line pattern, anything. Any open pattern can be a line pattern. Okay, thank you.